guys, welcome to another song title challenge where the big question is, how would you write this one? So community members from the podcast send in song titles. They send them to info@daredevilproduction.com, info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. Send in as many song titles as you like, and I spring them live to Brent on the podcast, and we try to mimic what happens in the first 15 minutes of a pro write on Music Row, where only purpose of this is a creative exercise to just cook up 4 or 5 different kind of approaches before we start writing the lyrics. What's the story going to be about? What's the angle? And that's what we try to cook up. So it's not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. You can use all of it. You can use none of it. It's just a fun way to show people, like, this is the muscle you got to exercise before you even start writing the lyrics, to make sure sometimes the first one's the right one. That's the right angle. But a lot of times, like, we're winding it up, Brent, after 15 minutes. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, one more thing. Or you pop one more thing. It's like, that's it. That's the boy, you know?
Yeah.
So we just can't stress this enough as songwriters, that you want to go through this exercise with yourself. And I mean, Brent and I were just talking before the show, and you're like, man, I've been doing that more and more to my own stuff. And I'm like, wow,
yeah. It's been great. Yeah. I found out a way to kind of do my own song title challenge through my old lyrics. So I'm going through titles that are, 20 years old, and going through and going, okay, I got to pick it. Here's a timer, 10 minutes, go. And I'm just consistently surprised by, like, oh, there's quality there. Like, oh, yeah. and some of that stuff I've been writing.
And breathing new life into the emotion that you feel about that song, right? Like, because it's been there for 20 years, you're kind of like, I haven't gotten
I don't look that far back in my hook book. I have like 4,000 and something hooks that I haven't written, that I've just gathered through however many years. And so I'm still like in the 600s right now, because I'll take 20 at a time and just say, you got to pick one out of this 20. I started from 1 through 20. You got to pick one out of this 20, set a timer, 10 minutes, go. And I'm just typing and thinking. And there's one from, 500s or 600s. So I tried to do, a batch of 20 just about every work day. And there's one I was like, oh, wow, that's really good. Wow, there's something there. And I wrote it the other day with, one of my new co-writers. This title that's like 20 years old that I'm not going to go back and do if not for this, kind of forcing myself to do it. But because of where I am now as a writer, and because of some, like, we end up writing this as a Southern gospel thing. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. But because I'm writing some different genres as well, adding more stuff into the mix, I have more colors I can paint with. You bring more of that to these titles, you go, oh, no wonder I didn't write that as a country song, because that's, for one thing, 20 years ago, I wasn't nearly as good. And also now it needs to be this thing, this different genre that I can do now. Yeah. Oh, when you put it in that frame, boom, 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 here we go. All right, take it in, next co-write, next day, boom, here we go. Thank you, done. All right. And he's excited about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was like, oh, wow. Okay, I'm glad I didn't throw this list away or go through and clean it out.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Anyway, so yeah, hopefully I definitely recommend it. Not only do I do these on the show, I do these in my when you're not looking.
For not only am I the president, I'm also a client.
And I've gotten, heck, he's already demoed that thing, and I'm sure he's pitched it around already. So,
oh, that's killer.
Hopefully we can do this for you too.
That's killer. All right. Are you ready?
No, but that has never stopped us before.
Okay. So this is from Climber. Stage name is Miss Divine M, a.k.a. Emily Angeloff.
Miss Divine M.
Or Angeloff. I'm not sure. Probably Angeloff.
I'll just call you Miss Divine M.
And the title is God and My Mom.
God and My Mom. All right.
Well, my mom. It sounds like right at the bit just sounds too specific for me.
Oh, no, that sounds perfectly specific to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you got to make it less specific.
Well,
or is it better that it's more specific?
It's universal. Like how many people, the most important, who they have to thank for most of the good stuff in their life, God and Mama. Now, for a country thing, because that's my natural lens through which I see the world is country music. And we're looking at this going, okay, if you brought this into a co-write, I got this title, I'm not sure what to do with it. But hey, we're trying to get on country radio because that's a good way to feed a family. But we'll look at it through some other genres as well. But say for country thing, if we want to write this, I'd probably say like God and Mama or something. But God and My Mama, or God, it'd be say if it's God and My Mom, same idea. We just may tweak the word for some rhymes and some vernacular, what fits the country lingo best. But I think of, it's a positive song of most important people in your life, the people you have to thank for the good stuff you got, the ones that have the most grace for you. There's that old Confederate Railroad song called Jesus and Mama.
Okay.
Used to wish upon a star that I could buy a brand new car, got tired of wishing, so I stole one. And talking about how he's a ne'er-do-well, but Jesus and Mama always loved me. Even when the devil took control, Jesus and Mama always loved me, this I know. And so that was a hit for them, and just kind of a classic country song. So you got that thing kind of refreshing that about Jesus and Mama, or, God and Mama, they got your back. They love you no matter how you screw up, right? You look at this and go, oh, what do they have in common, right? What does God and Mama have in common? They both love me. Even when I screw up, they both love me, and they'll let me come home. They'll forgive me, and they'll, so you look at that stuff going, okay. Or they're looking out for your future. They're setting things up for you. I want to say there was a movie, I can't remember what it is now, but the mom was always trying to hook her son up with this girl, and he never would, whatever. And then finally they meet at her funeral. And it's like that true love kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mama, you're still...
Oh, that's a total like rom-com tearjerker
kind of thing. Yeah.
Girlfriend movie. Yeah.
But it's like, God and Mama always looking out for me, always setting things up and matchmaking or whatever, that kind of thing, always with the wise advice. So, that definitely fits for like a country thing. Two places I know I could always turn: God and my mom. Two people I know wouldn't drop me, whatever.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
What if we put a little twist on it, right?
Yeah, well, I can think of a couple already, but yeah.
So one I was thinking of was when I was an artist, my parents had, instilled all these lessons in my head for my whole youth growing up. And it was funny because it wasn't until I met my manager when all of a sudden I started to understand that. And I'm going back like with the revelation to my parents, like, oh, this is what I learned. And they're like looking at me like, what the hell? Like, we've been telling you that for years, but that was part of it, right? Like the railroad track was put down and I just needed a different perspective on it. And then it connected all the dots. So yeah, what if instead of God and my mama, it was a God or my mama, right? Like which one, like on a life lesson or something, like which one? Yeah. How did this happen? Like, and I don't know different ways you could switch that up, but it's both of them are on high and you're just exactly. Which way did I get that from my mom or from God? Like,
whose voice was that in my head? You got that, yeah. Well, the Bible talks about train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they're old, they won't depart from it. So that's kind of, those lessons your mom and your dad were giving you, like they were laying the track. So when it was cued later or triggered, you're like, oh, wait. They were training you up. So yeah, it could be God or my mom. It could be, I'm not sure who I feared more, God or my mom, when I was doing the stuff I shouldn't have been.
There you go.
There are two people I hope never found out, God and my mom. There's that kind of thing too. So you got one that's like the sweet kind of, God and my mom always love me, even when I mess up, it's a sweeter kind of thing, even though I'm not perfect, whatever, they understand, there are two places two hands I can always rest on, or two shoulders I can always rest on, God and mom. Yeah.
That's real sweet, real uplifting.
It's cool, yeah, and that's worthy. That's worthy. But then you got the other side of it. It's like, don't tell God and my mom that we're about to do this thing we're about to do, or that we're doing.
You could totally do it like an outlaw song.
Exactly.
Like, totally go the other way and just be like, the two people I don't want to know about this are God and my mom.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. Just don't tell God and my mama. It could be the regret thing. Like, what would hurt me the most if someone saw me like this would be God and my mama. There's a country song that Gary Allan recorded. And I think some other people cut it too, but it's called Don't Tell Mama I Was Drinking. And stone country on this early Gary Allan, maybe like Smoke Rings in the Dark record, where he was out driving and saw this drunk driver just fly past him and nail a tree. And this young kid or whatever, it's, he got the whiskey bottle, you smell it on him and he's on his way out, man. It was a bad wreck. And his last words like, don't tell mama I was drinking. Oh. Her poor heart would never rest. Don't tell mama I was drinking. I'd hate for her to know I met Jesus with whiskey on my breath or something like that, Wow. And so there's that kind of regretful thing of like, look at the mess that I am. The two people I'm scared of letting down are God and my mama. Or what keeps me on the straight and narrow is I don't want to let down God and mom. Those two people, I don't want to let them down. What else? So there's so many ways to spin it. And I think a lot of those are worthy based on the brand that you're aiming for. Like, where's your kind of your artistic bent and your artistic voice intersect with the commercial marketplace? If you're aiming for commercial, like maybe you're not going to be the sweet singer. You'd be more the outlaw singer. Like, okay, how would Eddie Montgomery sing this?
Mm-hmm.
Or how would Chris Stapleton sing this? Because that's my more artistic bent versus, like Thomas Rhett or somebody. I'm trying to think, there are two voices I hear in my head when I'm doing things I shouldn't, or God and my mom, or those are two voices that keep me on the straight and narrow. That the stuff I hear from God and my mom, the advice that kicks in when I need it, the warnings, the red flags. So that's could be a cool thing too. What else was I thinking? There are only two people who can tell me what to do. And you ain't God and my mom.
Oh, that's good.
You ain't God or my mom.
Yeah.
It's something like that. Because I think there's a line from a movie that it was something, like Sam Elliott kind of guy, just macho kind of guy. Was like, the only two people can tell me what to do. You ain't God or my mama, which is cool, So that's a very much like, kind of macho. You just can't tell me what to do. So there's so many ways to go with this.
When you kind of go into a business meeting for the first time and there's something about the numbers, right? Like the number of people on either side of the table, right? Like if you're heading into a business meeting and there's 3 executives on the side of the table and it's just you bring 2 lackeys with you, whatever, tell them to wear a suit and they just sit there and don't say anything because it's going to be even Steven, right?
Yeah.
It's a mental thing. It's a leverage thing, right? And it's very real. So you and I were talking before about, I think we were talking about us, like, you're kind of the angel on the left side of the shoulder, and I'm like the devil on the right side of the shoulder, Yeah. You're the moral compass, and I bring the grit. Now, why can't we go out here and go out this far and do it this way? It's outnumbered if it's, the devil on one shoulder and God on the other, plus your mama.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like they always win.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like, that's what keeps me in line. So we kind of talked about that. Yeah, that's what keeps me in mind, the voice and the red flag I hear from God and mama. But yeah, then you can boil that down to the angel on the shoulder kind of thing. It's like, dude, man, I got the devil on one shoulder. Good thing on the other shoulder is God and mama.
Yeah. Something like that. Just the way to.
So so you can kind of visualize that.
Number.
Not just the voice in my head, but the angel of God and my mom on one.
And you could even spin that with what you said before. Like, I'm not sure which one the devil should be more afraid of, God or my mama.
That's great. Yeah.
They'll
both take a whooping to you.
Like, that's my mama. I'm just glad she's on my side because I would not want to cross her.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There are only 2 people I fear in this world, and that's God and mama.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing too. So there's so much to play with. Okay, so that's so much of that could be country stuff. If it is a Southern gospel thing, it's like God and mama never gave up on me. They see what I can be. They love me. And so it could be more like a gospel, Southern gospel thing about just kind of the pillars and the rocks in your life that lead you in the way you should go. So it could work for a few genres. I mean, it's God and my mom. What is it? I'm trying to think about, could it go more of you talk about her sitting up in heaven looking after me. I mean, or that could be like the third kind of verse bridge kind of thing. And the story song about, how God and mom always look after me. And now they're both up there.
Oh, you could have like a cool little twist on that, like on that last verse, right? Where it's like, if you could, I don't know how you do this, but you said some kind of pattern where God always like pushed you this way. And so you went this way, but then there was just a slight tweak to it. And so that was like, you know what? That one was God and my mama. Like he was like, no, over here. Like, not there, here. Like, he doesn't need to talk to her. He needs to talk to her,
Yeah.
Whereas like, I know that my mama was like,
my mom was involved in there somewhere.
Yeah. Like somehow she had something to do with it.
Yeah. Or, or it could be not based on me, but it could be about like your dad. What kept your dad in line was God and my mama. Dad was going down that dark road, and what pulled him back, from all that was God and my mom. About, the singer's talking about his parent, specifically is his dad that needed to be kind of reined in or whatever. It could be the thing about, or he left. And so the people that raised me were God and my mom. She took me to church. I didn't have a dad around or that sort of thing. I'm trying to think about, is there a way to make a love story? Because I think we covered a lot of life stuff, and that's all good stuff. I'm just wondering, because you wouldn't think about that as a love story.
Well, why not write that movie that you talked about? Because God's role is he called mama up.
Right. And she was always
time for mama to come home. But my mom just kept introducing me to this girl and trying to get me with this girl. And I just wouldn't do it. I didn't have the time. I had this, I had that or whatever. And then all of a sudden they meet and fall in love at mama's funeral.
Yeah.
So you got to thank God and your mom.
Yeah, I think that could be, it's really specific. So I'm trying to, which could be cool, a story song. I'm trying to think of like, is there a way to sing I love you to the girl, but the title is God and My Mom? Like, they must have picked you out. You're exactly the kind of girl they both want for me because you're good for me. Maybe you're the one that I got the wild side and I got this stuff, but man, God and My Mom must be smiling right now because you're the angel that I need. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Yeah, so that could be a love thing. Where it's a sweeter love thing, like she is, this girl is your kind of rock, and she's the one that's reining you in and helping you be the best you, so you're happy about it. She's not chains; she's just guardrails to keep you out of the ditch, but helping you be the best you can be. And so it's like, man, God and Mom must be pretty happy right now. I ain't the only one happy I met you. I think God and Mom are too. Because
there's two other people that, what's the word that rhymes with mom? I mean,
that's what I've been having trouble with in the back of my mind. I think drama for mama. It could be, I'm not the only one so happy I met you. I bet God and Mom are too.
Yeah.
If you kind of put it where it's not right at the end of the sentence. Or it could be she's the one that's tempting you and she's the devil on your shoulder, right? So I'm glad I found you. But God and Mom aren't.
Yeah, that would be an interesting twist, right?
So that's the other side, is she's a temptress.
Yeah.
The one that's, taking you down the darker path.
Don't eat the apple.
Right. Don't look at the apple. Don't talk about the apple. Don't dance about the apple. Don't sing about the apple. Don't think about touching the apple. It's don't touch the apple. All right. Sorry, Jerry Lee. So it could be that. So God, Mom, I ain't so sure. God, Mom, like I'm pretty sad about you. I think I'm pretty happy about this, but God and Mom probably aren't so sure,
Or, okay, what if you go even farther and just make them a hellion, right? And you're like, you know what I like most about this? Is that I'm real excited to meet you, but I'm pretty sure God, my mama would be against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Fun. Yeah, like all in. Like I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing wrong, and I don't care. Like, let's go.
Just don't tell God and my mom, or I don't care, whatever. Yeah, I'm happy I met you, but the devil was probably pretty happy I met you, but God and Mom aren't.
The devil's probably pretty happy I met you, but just do me a favor, don't tell God or my mom. Like,
yeah,
we're gonna go do this tonight.
So, man, we're already like 20 minutes. That flew by. So, Miss Divine M, thank you for that divine title. And I hope we brought some interesting thoughts to you. If nothing else, I hope it was entertaining. But there's so much there. And that may just be why you sent that in, to go, how do you narrow down? Because I think there are a lot of worthy ideas just based on what your lane is as a writer and the lane you want to pitch to an artist for. So it's hard to go wrong, I guess.
That's right. So now if Miss Divine M would like to do this exercise privately with you, or if she would like to maybe write it with you, like get some coaching on it.
Or throw some other titles at me. I do song feedback. I also do one-on-one, private consultation coaching. Mm-hmm. And so we can prepare your song like this. Go, hey, I got a title. I don't know what to do with it. Well, here's a bunch of stuff you could possibly do with it. What do you think? And we go back and forth and find the angle that works for you. We can do that, or we can bring in a finished song that I can look at and try to find the opportunities for it to get even better. You can ask me your questions about the art, the craft, the business of songwriting, all that good stuff. Basically, I'm just at your service. And you can get all the details. You can see my calendar, and you can book a session with me at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. And my goal is to, answer your questions and help you write your best songs ever.
All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of another killer song title challenge. Once again, all these ideas come from the community. So send in your song titles and send as many as you want to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. info@daredevilproduction.com. And remember, Brent was just talking at the beginning of this episode about a 20-year-old title that he thought he hadn't even thought about.
It was dead to me.
Yeah, it was dead to him. Like, he hadn't even thought. So send us in, like, whatever. Like, we'll, watch what happens. Watch us breathe new life into that song just by going through this exercise, because you said, Brent, you've been doing it now 20 at a time with your list, and that it's consistently inspiring to you, right? And result. You're like, man, okay.
And if nothing else, it's a great exercise to get my brain up and running. It's still like doing my jogging in the morning.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. So this podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.
Song Title Challenge.